just let me tell you, I speak English, but I don't know anything about dogs. And so maybe we will have a little bit some problems, yeah, how to speak, how to translate some things for him. But you can ask anything. I tell him, he tell me, and then I translate to you, and we get communication.
And I will ask simple questions, and just basically he can explain, and then we go from there. I won't ask anything super elaborate. It's just basic questions.
Okay.
Introduce yourself and tell me where you're from and how you got started with dogs.
Okay. He's from. I'm going to answer before translate to him. Ele perguntou de onde tu é e como é que tu começou com os cachorros. Aí eu já dizer que tu é de Eldorado. He's from Eldorado do Sul. The name of the city, it's next to the capital of the southest state in Brazil. It's next to Uruguay and Argentina. Maybe you have already seen a map. And our tradition is so similar, the gauchos in Argentina and Uruguay. And as my brother has a tradition with horses and dogs here because he works in the land. And but I'm going to wait him to tell how he started with the dogs. Eu falei, tá, essa parte acho que tu entendeu, né? Perto do gaúcho. Isso. Aí eu falei.
Os cachorros vêm junto com o cavalo.
Com os cavalos, que tu tem isso sempre, né? Agora ele quer saber como é que tu começou com esses cachorros.
Quando eu parei de trabalhar com Border Collie, eu usava Border para trabalhar em fazenda. Quando eu parei de trabalhar em fazenda e vim para a cidade, eu senti necessidade de um cachorro que tanto fizesse o trabalho da guarda dentro da casa, quanto também conseguisse fazer um bom trabalho dentro do boi.
Okay. He started with Border Collie dogs. Do you know this name, the dogs? Okay. Yeah. I didn't know if it was the same name in English. Yeah. And as we have Border Collies here in our family, as because of his dogs, and because he worked in the farm with the Border Collies that are very smart dogs, yes. But when he moved from the farm to the city, he needed dogs to work with safety to help him with this part of farm and also the safe part in the city. And that's why he started with the bulldogs.
Why did he choose the Campero Bulldog instead of some other like traditional breeds like the Rottweiler or the Presa Canario or something like that? What attracted to him specifically to the Campero Bulldog?
He told me that it's a traditional dog here in Rio Grande do Sul, the state where we live. And that's why the name is Campero Bulldog. Campero means here in Portuguese, dogs from the farm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe in English it's the same meaning. And it's so tradition here. That's why he chose, because it's easier to find here. And another specific thing is that they still resisting. And he knows this maybe for... even for safety and to with counts. Okay. Okay. In the past time here in the region where we live, the farms didn't have the limited state areas, and so the dogs were used for this. And that's why they are so strong, even to fight and to go against the cow. And that's why he prefers this kind of dogs here.
Who was his mentor with the dogs and with training and dog breeding? What got him into that side of it, and how did he develop his passion for that? And who was his main mentor in that world? Does that make sense?
Here in our state, there is a city, the name is Taquara, and there is a guy, the name is
Ralph Banner.
Ralph Banner. And he is the first guy who treats this kind of dogs here in our state. He got the first dogs here with this guy, and learned a little bit with him. But this guy just grow up dogs and sell them, and this guy doesn't develop the dogs. But this thing my brother knows because of the border collies, and then because he studies these things. His girlfriend is veterinarian, and they work in farms and study together how to treat, how to develop the dog for these two things that he thinks is more important: to work in the farm with cows and work for safe in the city. And after that, he got a net of other developer dogs here in Rio Grande do Sul and Santa Catarina. There is another state in the south part of Brazil. And these guys, each one knows a little bit, and they talk together. And some of them works with this kind of dogs a long time. And he goes there, and they comes here, and they work a little bit together. I can say, because it's a little a kind of net in the region. And he learned a lot with them. But now I am going to tell you that these people is coming here to learn with him. And he's saying that first he learned a lot about bulldogs, compare bulldogs for farm, to work with cow. And now he is in connect with more people about safeguard, and as a sport, these people that have a high level of developed dogs for this kind of safeguard dogs, comparable dogs. And now is this part that he is studying more, because he knows a lot about the farm part, and now he's working with this, and they are winning some prizes here in the region. The first bulldog, how to say in English, maybe the obedience, do you understand this? Yeah, and BH here, that is a very important prize here, is the female dog is of Fabrício, the comparable dogs in this prize. Last year, né?
Foi esse ano passado eu ganhei outra, só que foi sob guarda com a Baita.
2018.
Wow. Could he speak a little bit about the history of the Campero Bulldog and how it was developed, and maybe what were the breeds that were used to create the Campero?
Existe fora daqui.
Okay. He's saying that these comparable dogs started here, and started in the farms here in Rio Grande do Sul.
E aqui, quando eles trabalhavam, só que não era considerado como raça, tinha o tipo do cachorro trabalhando nas fazendas, derrubando boi, contendo boi, segurando boi.
Calma, porque senão eu não consigo.
E também cuidando da fazenda.
And it was not a race of dogs at the beginning, but it was very used to save of the farm and to work with the cows here. And but all region used this kind of dog, but they didn't call a race. It was not considered a important dog. I can tell this.
O cachorro passava o dia andando com o tropeiro, com o campeiro, acompanhando o boi. Não era um cachorro que está tocando o boi, mas era o cachorro que resolvia o problema. O boi se enfiou no mato que não quer sair. Vai lá ou tira, derruba no mato.
It was a kind of dog to help the cow, the farm, not to go with a lot of cow, but if the cow goes in a river or in another place or fall in I don't know where, the dog helped this cow and helped the farmer also in many kind of jobs during the day.
Não tinha bem um padrão, porque era o cachorro que reproduzia, quem é bom de trabalho na área das fazendas. Daí o Ralph apaixonou pelo trabalho do cachorro além de trabalhar muito bem no boi, serviço bruto, fazia uma boa guarda nas fazendas. Ele começou a ir nas fazendas e pedir para reproduzir os cães, esse com esse, aquele com aquele, até conseguir começar a fechar um padrão, submeter a CBKC isso para transformar em uma raça.
This half guy that he started here to get the dogs, found that it could be a good dog to consider a race, and he started to ask in the farm, oh, can I reproduce these 2 dogs? Can I use this one? He started to select the best ones and submit the, como é que é o nome da instituição?
CBKC.
CBKC, that is the confederation here in Brazil to consider a dog a race. And this guy that started, I don't know if it was clean, but I tell, or a little bit confused.
No, I completely understood.
Pessoas muito influentes trabalhando mesmo parelho com ele, só que não foram tão citadas quanto ele. Muito bom. Tantos outros.
He's saying that this guy that started, but in the beginning other guys also tried to do this, but didn't have much success than this guy.
It was English bulldogs that were brought over by European settlers. What other dogs did they introduce to breed with what we consider the Campero now? What other races, genetic lines are in the Campero besides English Bulldog?
Além do Bulldog inglês, que outros cães tu acha que fez essa cruza que gerou o Bulldog Campero?
Eu acredito que entrou Bulldog americano. Acredito que entrou alguma coisa de boxer.
He's saying that he believes the American Bulldog, British Bulldog, and also the boxer.
Nosso cimarrão aqui da fronteira deve ter entrado.
There is a Uruguayan dog that the name is Cimarron. Do you know?
Yes, absolutely.
I was saying that he told me about a Cimarron dog. There is a dog here from Uruguay, I think. Uruguay or
Cimarrão Uruguai.
And he's also a mix of these dogs.
Right. Interesting. I hadn't heard that before, so that's great to hear.
He told me about the English Bulldog, the American Bulldog, the boxer, and the Cimarron. There is a Uruguayan dog here.
Yep.
O Bulldog inglês, da época que o Bulldog inglês era bem diferente do que é hoje.
Okay.
Ele era muito próximo do que hoje é o campeiro.
And he's saying that the English Bulldog that was used here in this mix was a very different English Bulldog. It's not the same one that we have nowadays. It's more similar to the Campero Bulldogs than the English Bulldogs nowadays.
Your brother one of the first ones to start introducing the protection side of the Camperos instead of just the farming side?
Oh no, he knows a lot of dogs that, a lot of guys that work with this part. Ele perguntou se é o único que trabalha com o Campero Bulldog para a parte de segurança.
Não, tem mais alguns. Mas muito poucos em relação ao povo de criadores que tem na raça. Que usa para segurança mesmo hoje, que treina, o Diógenes do Paraná, Vanor, Lex e Giovanni de Santa Catarina, mas um ou outro eu posso ter.
He knows 4 or maybe 5 guys that work with the Campero Bulldogs for these safe guardian dogs, and also for the Campero ones. Yeah, just maybe 4 or 5. That's the small that I told you that he has here. And they are not from all from our state. Some of guys are from Santa Catarina and Paraná, that are other states here in the south part of Brazil.
Alguns outros no México. Claro, eles têm linhagens de sangues mais antigos que têm mais tendência a trabalhar. mas não fazem trabalhos direcionados.
Okay, and he's saying that some guys that develop dogs and sell ones, and they have good dogs for this safe part, but they don't work with this. They work just with the farm jobs with the dogs.
Recognized as the standard Campero Bulldog in today's world.
In addition to the standard aspects of a bulldog, it has to be thinner and not heavy, fast, but also strong dog.
Forte contato, de forma que a gente enxerga que é um cachorro capaz de conter um boi, um homem, alguma coisa assim, mas que seja que tenha mobilidade, que não seja aquele forte compacto de ser plasmado.
Yeah, strong, but and compact, but not, but needs to be more flexible and smart, and that's why it has to be thinner also, but has to keep the bulldog's standard characteristics with these parts a little bit more developed.
Mm-hmm.
Eu acredito que o mais importante é psicológicas, né? Que é uma raça que ama a criança e que daria a própria vida para defender a própria família, a família que, tipo, eles não jamais machucariam uma criança, em tese, mas eles dariam tudo para defender a casa, a família, o contexto que eles vivem.
And he's saying that there is another characteristic that is maybe more important, that is the psychological part of the dog. The Campero Bulldogs is a dog for kids, to save and to protect child in all places, and it has to be kind and has to save the life of kids as something very part of their characteristic. It's not just something that you can teach. It has to be part of this dog. It's a very important characteristic.
E uma das características que foi até uma coisa que fiz buscar a raça, por exemplo, a maioria das outras raças de trabalho, quando são cães que querem trabalhar o tempo todo. Então, tu nunca vai ter um sossego de tu estar quieto para teu cão. Já o Bulldog, ele é um cachorro que se tu quer ficar parado, pra ele tá bom. Se tu quer correr, tá bom. Tu quer nadar, tá bom. Tu quer trabalhar, tá bom. Tu quer fazer guarda, tá bom.
And he's saying that most of dogs to work in the farm, and these working dogs, and they are so they want to work all the time. They are very fast and want to do things all the time. And the Campero Bulldogs know. And if you call the Campero Bulldogs to work, okay. But if you call the Campero Bulldogs to sleep and to stay seated, it's okay also. It's not a very agitate. I don't know if this word is used in English, I don't remember. But it's not an agitate dog. It's a calm and is very friendly to people also.
Could he talk about how tall a standard Campero is and how much they weigh? What is the standard CPK?
Não lembro exato. Gira em torno de 50 centímetros de altura e 40 e poucos quilos de peso, mas eu não lembro o padrão exato. O meu foco principal é estar dentro do padrão e ser muito bom de trabalho. Então eu não busco muito as linhas limites do padrão. Para mim, se ele está ali dentro, ele não saiu da raça. Agora, estando ali dentro, eu quero ver quem é que é muito bom de trabalho.
He says that he doesn't really remember about the best or the limit of the standard, but his dogs is around 15 centimeters of tall and 40 kilos, 45 kilos. Working aspect is more important, and he's looking for, okay, it has to in the standard shape, but these other parts are most important for him.
Maior altura, maior peso dentro do padrão, eles não têm vontade de trabalhar ou não conseguem.
When they are just in the standard shape, like the tallest dogs or the fat dogs, they are not very well to work, and so that's why it's not in the limit of the race. Just around it, it's considered very good. They are in, but he's not looking for the more beautiful, maybe.
Right. How well does his dogs do in, say, summertime in the hot weather?
Trabalho, não tem problemas de saúde.
Okay. He's saying.
Automaticamente, quando tu começa a selecionar para o trabalho, exige um nível de saúde muito maior. Daí tu vai chegar num nível. Para te chegar em indivíduos muito bons de trabalho, tu vai ter que chegar em indivíduos com muita saúde, porque senão eles não vão suportar o processo de seleção.
Okay. He's saying that. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. He's saying that the comparable dogs has the same healthy aspects than the English one, generally saying. And so sometimes get illness, other times no, but it's not a very good. They are regular sometimes, and they are illness, other times no. But the kind of dogs that they selected, his creation, are healthy. Because it's like people, when you have people to sports, you select people that can work very well, can practice that kind of work very well. That's what he does with the dogs. He selects just dogs that are healthier and they work very well and they practice this aspects every day with the dogs, and he than most of comparable dogs, especially the ones that work in farms, but he and these 4 or 5 dogs that have these dogs for the safe aspect, and they are healthier than most of others.
Okay, interesting.
But it's kind of a selection. Can you see? As you told, your creation is better, is healthier than the general.
Right. In the show dog world, and how often does he do shows with his dogs?
Qual a frequência que tu leva eles para apresentações ou coisas assim?
Hoje na região nós temos poucas, então levem todas que tem. Mas nós conseguimos aí hoje prova que pode mesmo participar 4 média por ano, não muito mais que isso.
He's saying that there is not a lot of competitions to take the dogs to show them here in the south of Brazil. Here there are like 4 in a year, and he takes all 4 during the year. But he trains the dogs every day.
Nós temos de proteção 1 a 2 vezes. Treinos de obediência 1 a 2 vezes por semana, treinos de aeróbico 1 a 2 vezes por semana.
He trains the dogs for these competitions like 1 or 2, maybe 3 times per week. He trains the dogs for the dance 2 or 3 times per week.
Treinos de saúde, tipo, vai correr 1 a 2 vezes por semana também.
And swim and running 2 or 3 times per week also.
Okay. So his dogs do okay when it's 30 degrees out?
Yeah, he's saying that there is some creation of comparable dogs in João Pessoa. That is the northeast part of Brazil. That is summer during the whole year, and there is more than 30 degrees during summer. It's around 30 degrees, and they are okay. He's saying that places where the weather is hotter, the comparable dogs has to be thinner. It has to be. It can't be so heavy The pounds has lower.
Algumas coisas que eu vi cruzas para cães poderem chegar a bem temperatura é o tamanho da fossa nasal.
Oh, now I have to tell some technique, and I'm not going to be very well to translate. He's saying that the dog needs to have not a big nose, but the fossa. The nasal fossa has to be bigger. Can you understand? Okay,
yes.
Has to be bigger when the weather is hotter.
Right. Mm-hmm.
To breathe with more efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Tamanho para baixo, não tamanho só largura.
And the size and the deeper of the thorax has to be bigger also.
Mm-hmm.
The breath system has to be better.
Yeah. Yep. So the south of Brazil, it seems to have kind of a tradition with dogs compared to the north. Am I wrong?
Yeah, right. These comparable dogs is from the south of Brazil. These ones that are in the north, they came from the south part. It's not a tradition in the north.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like other dogs besides the Campero, right, as well, it's a lot of different variations of races have come from the south, correct?
Eles que no Brasil tem muitas raças assim que tem tradição, assim.
Tem uma boa quantidade de não sei o que seriam muitas, mas tem aí, além do Bulldog Campeiro, tem o Bulldog Serrano, o Ovelheiro Gaúcho, Perdigueiro Farejador brasileiro, Fila brasileiro, Fox Terrier brasileiro.
He's saying that there are other kinds of.
Veadeiro brasileiro, veadeiro pampiano, veadeiro nacional.
He's saying that there are other kinds of dogs here that is just from the south of Brazil, and they are like the comparable dogs. Can you tell him the names? I don't know. I cannot translate it. Fala mais alto aqui devagar para ele.
Bulldog Campeiro, Bulldog Serrano.
Devagar.
Bulldog Campeiro, Bulldog Serrano, Veadeiro Nacional, Veadeiro Pampiano, Fox Terrier brasileiro, Perdigueiro brasileiro, Fila brasileiro.
Yeah.
Other kinds of dogs that they are adopted to Brazil, they are from here, yes, like the comparable dogs.
Mm-hmm. Is there a reason for that? Maybe because of the European farmers and settlers? Is that?
I don't know, I'm going to ask. Ele perguntou se é porque a gente tem muitos imigrantes, assim.
É possível, porque a maioria das raças surgiu nas épocas de cruzas de cães trazidos pelos imigrantes. Daí aquilo foi deixando, vai cruzando, quando tu olha, ele tá num padrão já diferente.
Yeah, probably. He told me that most of them came from the immigration years, in Brazil in the past.
Mm-hmm. Can you speak kind of the traditions? You kind of touched upon it a little bit about the south of Brazil with the forgive me if I mispronounce it, the gauchos from Argentina. Can you speak a little bit about the traditions of South Brazil and the kinds of people that immigrated there compared to, say, the North and the Central?
Okay, here in this region, the South Brazil, Uruguay, and Argentina, in the past and since now, we have big farms of soy and corn, rice, and that we have a lot of plantation, and we have horses here, and that's why we have these gauchos. And we have a cheaper and cow, and that's why we have this characteristic, this guy that we call gaucho. And this gaucho is the guy that works in this area, and ride horses, and eat a lot of barbecue. But the Brazilian barbecue that is different than the American ones.
Right.
Once you have to come here 5 hours, that is very, very good. It's different. And what else I can tell you? We have this nowadays, like Fabrício for me keeps being a gaucho also, you know. The difference only is the language. Here in Brazil we speak Portuguese, Uruguay and Argentina they speak Spanish. And in Argentina it's, do you know Patagonia?
Yes.
Yeah, and so the south of Buenos Aires, also the area they call Patagonia, there is this people like this, the horse, they ride horse, they dress this tradition clothes, and live in farms and treat these animals and the plantation. It's the same in Uruguay and here in the south part of Brazil.
Right. I also want to add to that this podcast. I want to develop this podcast and go a little deeper if I can eventually. I have an idea in my head where I want it to go. Whether it will get there or not, I don't know. But so I want to be able to expand, but that takes time and a little bit of money. So eventually I want to be able to do things like more, maybe go somewhere to see a dog operation first, you know, in person, and kind of create a documentary style show. But I'm starting slow and I'm learning how to do this, and I'm trying to become better myself. So it as much it is about learning knowledge about other dogs and other cultures with dogs, it's also to grow my podcast.
Okay, and if you are interested to come here, you will be very welcome, to see the dogs and to learn about our culture. Feel free to come,
As pessoas, aí como se ele ficou muito interessado, ele tem ampliado o podcast dele, os vídeos, e ele tem se encantado muito com a região sul do Brasil, principalmente por causa dos imigrantes e tudo isso, né? E que ele tem interesse até em vir pra cá, ele diz que ele vai ser muito bem-vindo, né? E ele diz que logo ele deve se interessar, até porque ele quer ver.
Que daí eu mostro a criação pra ele.
Aí ele quer ver a criação, mas ele quer ver os animais trabalhando e tal. Por isso
pra mim, entre aspas, pra mim mostrar a criação, mostrar trabalhando. Porque o resto pra mim é um detalhe.
He is saying that he would be so proud to show you the dog's work.
Yeah. That would be great.
Precisa casalar com qual?
He's saying that his main goal is not just reproduce dogs, but train them and work a lot of them to check what is the best dog to have the small dogs, you know, to reproduce. And that's why he doesn't have a lot of small dogs, but he has very good dogs, because he is all the time doing a selection. He's all the time working with the dogs to have the best selection dogs.
Besides the Campero Bulldog, are there any other dogs, any other breeds that he really likes and that he sees a future with? Maybe breeding or handling himself?
Ok. Eles que ainda tem algumas perguntas mais pra fazer. Eles que, além do Bulldog Campero, se tu te imagina trabalhando com outro tipo.
Eu tenho também o dog brasileiro.
He's saying that he has the Brazilian Bulldog.
Uh-huh.
No, sorry. Brazilian
Dog brasileiro.
Dog.
Yep.
The dog, only this.
Right. Yeah,
Outras raças.
But he doesn't have interest in much other breeds. Yeah, he prefers the Parable dogs.
Tenho vontade de treinar outras raças, para conhecer melhor as diferenças e também para pegar jeitos que eu posso trazer para treinamentos da minha
But he's saying that he's interested maybe to train some other breeds to learn and maybe to bring some aspects to the comparable dogs or to his technique to train the comparable dogs.
If he were to introduce another breed to one of his comparos, what other breed would he use?
Se tu fosse misturar o da campeiro com uma outra raça,
Não
qual seria?
misturaria, não concordo com isso. Muitos fazem. Eu prefiro focar no que eu busco, através de muito trabalho e muita seleção chegar lá. O cruzamento, normalmente, ele é um atalho. Vamos dizer que eu quero um cachorro mais veloz, eu usaria no galgo. Mas daí eu perderia muito do que eu tenho. Então eu prefiro ir selecionando os que correm mais, até chegar no cão que eu busco, sem precisar usar da cruz.
In his opinion, he doesn't like to do these things. He prefers to select the best comparable dogs and select, not to introduce other breeds to make better the ones, you know. He doesn't like. He preferred the poor comparable dogs.
Right. Absolutely. Can he talk about what his morning and evening routine is with the dogs, like his feeding times and what kind of foods he feeds his dogs as well?
Ok, just a moment. Ele quer saber qual é a tua rotina com os cachorros e o que eles comem. Como é que tu faz?
A alimentação é baseada em...
Vai devagar, que eu sei que é bastante informação.
A alimentação é baseada em alimentação natural, pelo menos 70% dela, e uns 30% de ração.
Okay, he prefers the nature food, like 70% of the food is nature.
O que tu quer dizer com alimentação natural?
É basicamente o que eles predariam: carne, vísceras, órgãos.
Like meat and all the viscerals of the other animals, as if they had catch the animals, you know.
Okay.
Just keep the tradition of the dogs to keep this.
Right.
And
mais em baixa quantidade.
some lettuce and green things, but not much, just small things.
Boa alimentação, em geral, em forma de treino, ou em treino de obediência, ou em treino de faro.
Como prêmio?
O prêmio da quando é em obediência. Quando é em obediência, não, faro. Cada pegada, por exemplo, eu estou ensinando ele a fazer as minhas pegadas. Cada pegada eu largo uma coisinha de comida.
Não tem um horário que tu dá alimentação?
Normalmente no como o antes falou.
He usually give the food to the dogs, usually at night or before the day starts in the early morning. And another moment that he gives food is like the prize, and the dogs do things that he's training, like the obedience and other moments.
Right. Does he feed the dogs one meal a day or 2 meals a day?
Grains, 30% of the food are grains also. And he trains ele pergunta se tu treina eles uma vez por dia, 2 vezes, como é que horário? Como funciona?
Na quantidade que eu alimentar. Cães mais novos tem que alimentar 2, 3 vezes por dia. Então eu treino 2, 3 vezes por dia. Cães mais velhos, já a partir do seu 1 ano e meio, posso alimentar só 1 vez por dia. Então se eu tô fazendo treino de manutenção...
Tá, calma aí, peraí, senão eu não consigo repetir, que eu não conheço tanto o assunto.
He's saying that young dogs he gives food twice per day, and he trains twice also per day. But older dogs, like older than 1 year and a half, he gives food only once, and he trains only once per day.
Okay.
That's a moment.
Sim, eu treino adulto, porque eu só estou treinando com frequência, com a rotina, eu faço 1 vez por dia. estou preparando ele para uma prova, ou se é um adulto que eu estou começando a treinar, já adulto, eu divido a alimentação dele em várias vezes por dia e treino várias vezes por dia.
Adult dogs, when he's training to maintenance, he gives food only once. But when the adult dogs he's training for a competition or for something very special, he gives food during the whole day. But he trains during the whole day. He train and give food. Train and give food, like a human that practices some sport. You have food partitioned during the day as you train.
What does your kennel setup look like? What does the houses for the bulldogs? Where do they sleep? Can he describe that?
He built small houses for each dog. I don't know if you follow this. It's like a traditional place where dogs sleep, but it's just for sleep. Just a moment. Mas é só para dormir, né? Durante o dia.
Essas coisas. Se eles quiserem dormir na rua, eles dormem na rua. Eles têm acesso.
But the dogs can choose if they want to sleep in these small houses that they each one on one, or if they want to sleep outside the house. Yeah, because it's like as natural as possible for the place. Yeah.
Right.
He built small houses. For each dog. I don't know if you follow this. It's like a traditional place where dogs sleep, but it's just for sleep. Just a moment. Mas é só para dormir, né? Durante o dia.
Essas coisas. Se eles quiserem dormir na rua, eles dormem na rua. Eles têm acesso.
But the dogs can choose if they want to sleep in these small houses that they each one on one, or if they want to sleep outside the house. Yeah, because it's like as natural as possible for the place. Yeah, maybe I could give you some picture of this space. I podia mandar uma foto depois.
That would be great. Yeah. Tell him.
Just a moment, he's saying something more.
É muito semelhante à forma dos PVT, dos tradicional lá, a forma de criação.
He's saying that the way he treats the dogs is like the way the Americans treat the pit bulls.
Yep. Yeah. In the near future, I'd like to bring him on to specifically talk just about his dog training.
Oh, good. Acho que no futuro ele vai querer falar também especificamente desse tipo de cachorro. Okay.
Okay. And the last question is any last words that he would like to say, and any messages or anything like that. He could say it, and then we can end the interview.
He's saying that he wants to say that very good dog, not a specific his creation, but a very good compare dog, he believes is the value of the dog. That is more than beauty, is more than these luxury aspects that many people think about. It has to be selected by working, and it has to be a very good dog because of the psychological aspect and que falou mais de características dele que eu estou pensando um pouquinho. To very good, they have to be good for working, capacity to resist stress and psychological problems, and force. And I think is this, and it has to be docile. And a very good dog has to have all these things, and is it has to be selected by this brand, not in other things.
E sempre buscar que realmente são testados, porque falar que faz cão é capaz, muito fácil da gente, muitas vezes, até por gostar do cão, a gente acha que ele é muito capaz. Mas se ele realmente não é testado naquilo, ele não tem provas, é muito complicado.
And you have to test the dog all the time to test, because sometimes you like the dog and you think it's good, but it's not as good as it has to be or as good as it should be. It's just testing and working the dog. You can select the best one.
Right.
That's it.
All right. That's awesome. Tell him thank you very much, and maybe someday I'll see him in South Brazil, or I will be wanting to import a Campero and a Brasilio, Doggy Brasilio.
We hope, yeah. If you need
Yeah.
anything, tell us, and then I can help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'd like to, in the near future, I'll keep in contact with him and maybe hopefully bring him on and we can talk specifically about his dog training and all of that.
Good.
So, yep. I appreciate both of your guys' time. It's been, thank you very much. I'm blessed.
You're
that you were, yep.
Okay. See you.
Have a good Sunday. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Desejo